Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. I am Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Cognus. Hey guys.
Hey, guys. And today I'm kind of excited because we're looking at a Dreadnought cruiser is what it's called. And I like Dreadnoughts. This one is the Buran Dreadnought cruiser. This is an STO ship that is designed after the Discovery Buran that we saw. That was commanded by Lorca.
And if you remember the Buran, it was the upside down Shinjo, in essence. This ain't no upside down Shinjo. As we know, the Star Trek Online guys are extremely talented. And this was a duo of Hector Ortiz that designed it, the famous, infamous, classic Hector Ortiz, and our good friend Tobias Richter modelled it, so A-team right there. They're very, very good at creating both new details, old details that factor in, using their own aesthetic but evolving it. You know, really, really talented, and I think no one could argue that some of the best designs of Star Trek ships are coming out of STO have been for multiple years, even compared to the actual shows. I think this is definitely one of those, like, how do we... and everyone knows that Discovery ships are on the lower end of the spectrum. I'll be diplomatic. And so how do you take the premise of that, but raise it into both a better design, but also a 2409 aesthetic, yet being still faithful? It's a hard challenge, and I'm sure they had a bit of pressure on them.
First of all, I just want to say we are going to be comparing this one to the actual Discovery Buran at some point in its own video, because comparing them side by side will be very important as far as details
You like
go.
doing that.
But that'll be another video altogether. So if you're interested in that, just make sure you're subscribed, obviously, and click the notification bell icon to all. There, I said it earlier in the video this time. This is a fantastic look. There's so much about this that is just streamlined and sleeked out, and just, again, the color palette for STO, I love it. I love the contrasting dark paneling and stuff that really makes things pop. So this is one that I had seen before, and I love it. It's so different from the Discovery one. It feels more bulky. It feels more purpose built. It doesn't feel as lanky, I guess is a good word to use. It doesn't feel like that, and I like it. I like it a lot.
This is a great one. I mean, the Buran itself is an ultra simple concept, as all Discovery ships are. You know, as in take the smorgasbord of Star Trek design cues and sort of put them together, because you have to make so many. This obviously keeps the saucer, but it does its completely own thing for the back. And considering how few details there are in the Discovery verse and even the TOS verse, when you suddenly add the phaser strips and the blinkies and the RCF thrusters and the instantly it gets more interesting, more complicated, and I think it balances those very well. I think possibly a comment I would have is that the back feels too industrial, like there's a lot going on. Like the saucer has a nice balance, the back is just a bit too much sort of raw metal going on.
Disagree. I really like that back section, as it just looks beefy, and it looks like it's designed to be a dreadnought. It looks tough, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's being given a Dreadnought label, to be honest. I might say in later views, but it just kind of feels like a normal 4 nacelle ship to me.
Probably because it is 4 nacelle. I know the Constellation wasn't, or the Stargazer wasn't a dreadnought, but a lot of people associate more than 2 nacelles with being a dreadnought. So
weird. But the next view though is kind of from the back side. To kind of get a different view before we do some scales. Yeah, again, same thing. I think the back feels a bit too much.
Again, I respectfully disagree. I do really like the glowing elements, how the warp coils, how they're kind of hidden. Again, it feels like it's armored up, it's plated, it's ready to go into battle and not have to worry about those being weaknesses. Because we know that on a lot of Federation ships, those coils are either a long strip or exposed top or whatever, which looks great. But this is a nice marriage of having it look great and have glows, but still be protected.
Well, it's also a respectful homage to the Discovery designs, which don't have really warp grills to speak of. Not really, anyway. So it's a good way of having sort of both. But I don't necessarily think I'm getting too much from this view because it's kind of hiding a lot. So let's talk about scales then. Here is the top view. And I always like when they don't go overboard. We've actually looked at a lot of the larger ships in the STO fleet, so I appreciate a smaller ship because those are often more advanced. I mean, look at the Galaxy's the Intrepid. The Intrepid can run sources around the galaxy and look at the size differential. That tells you something. So, what do you think here?
Yeah, the Dreadnought moniker is kind of here. Usually Dreadnoughts you associate with larger. That being said, the Franz Joseph Federation class was just slightly bigger than the Constitution class. So It could all just be power relative to whatever. It could also just be a flashy, cool name. So here, like the bulk at the back, I really like. Again, it doesn't feel weak. It doesn't feel like, look at the size of those struts when you compare them to like a Sovereign class. Even the Enterprise D, these are a little bit bigger than the Enterprise D as far as like front to back width goes. And I love the shape of that saucer. It's very aggressive. And the cutouts at the back, again, are just so appropriate. You could have carried that saucer curve around, and it still would have looked great. But there's something about that just, it's very awesome. That cutout, that negative, well, it's not really negative space,
No,
but
it's
you know
not.
what I mean.
Yeah, well, it gives it character, you know. This thing doesn't feel to me like it's designed with practical internal volume as its highlight. You know, there are cutouts, there are, you know, people aren't living in the pylons, so it feels more like a designed for purpose, which bypasses other standard purposes, if that makes sense. I do think that I would, if I was doing it, cut down the pylons a little bit. Very hard to say how much, because it's a big part of the look, and it would look too thin. Very small amount, but I think you would know when it kind of felt just a bit more refined.
Honestly, looking at it here, that the white part at the back of the strut could totally go.
Oh, see, that's too far for me. I think that would be too thin then.
I disagree.
Half
I think
of
that could
it.
look cool.
Half of it, I think. Should we compromise half?
Maybe a quarter. maybe where the line of where you see the built-in impulse engines.
Yeah.
That's what they are on this.
Ah, right.
Maybe right there would be good.
Because the whole back gets lost in its own detailing.
From the top, I don't agree with you, but when you go to the side view here, the side pylons, that looks way too much to me. That kind of takes away from the look a little bit.
A little
It
bit.
doesn't
A lot
have
of
that
it, Stuart. A lot of it.
Doesn't have that sleek look to it here. Yeah, so I think the pylons here at the side are just a little bit too much. And actually, the whole thing from the side is not an attractive looking chip. Honestly, like that undercut of the front of the saucer, I don't know, that just doesn't work for me. It just falls apart completely as a ship for me here.
It looks like an angled brick. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is why these are really, really fun, because look at how all these other ships look. So radically different. They don't like this from the top. You know, you'd never say the Galaxy was, you know, a wide chunky guy from that, etc., etc. But yes, side views can often, you know, because these ships aren't designed to really look good for every angle. That's a happy bonus. And at the end of the day, the STO players are watching it from sort of this back view, and then sort of they're not ever doing that. I don't think you can do a flat on, so it's the exception, but it's for interesting for scale. Okay, you can.
I like flying my ship around and just changing the camera to get these cool views. Like I'm a director. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
But no, it's and then the Dreadnought again. I mean, there's now I said earlier that it didn't feel like there's a focus on internal volume. Now it feels like there is, because it's just so bulky. But as we know, those angles they are being cut out of. But
it doesn't feel bulky to me here, because I know that those are struts. You know, like there's nothing in there. But from the side, it just looks like a solid wall of like material.
I don't know why Dreadnought though. I mean, maybe if you added like the particle cannon from the Enterprise D Galaxy X on the bottom, maybe that would help. But also, I think it feels too much mirrored from the top and bottom with the angle. I think that's laying it down. If it had a more Enterprise E star cutout, I think that would help no end.
Moving on to the next picture, it's a 3/4 shot from underneath.
And we're back to looking good again.
Yeah. And this again, like this is one of those ships that from certain angles, like from the side, you're like, you move the camera just a little bit, and you're like, there you go, that's better. There's the sweet spot. This one has just a sweet spot of ugly, and that's just from the side. Like the Kelvin Enterprise, the JJ Enterprise is exactly different, because from the side it looks like that's okay. The pylon, the size of the nacelles looks fine. You change the camera angle a little, it's like, nope, wrong, done. This is the opposite of that. But yeah, I really like the integrated deflector, I guess, on the bottom there. It doesn't have a big enough profile for me to really work though as a deflector, but at least there's something going on. I mean, it looks fine from this angle, but from the side, just the way that I know that cuts down, it doesn't work for me. It needs more of a, I don't know what it needs actually. That's tough.
Yeah, that deflector looks too radical to me. I think all you have to do is just turn off the color, and it's not a deflector. So I can't give it a pass really. It defies everything that a deflector needs to be, etc. Obviously, that said, Miranda and the Obeth don't need deflectors. So, the leg to stand on is somewhat small, but, if you're going to get a too radical deflector, just don't include one.
Interestingly enough, if you zoom in a little bit, you were just talking about the particle cannon on the bottom of the D, or the Galaxy X. It looks like there is some kind of phaser type thing there, but I don't think it's supposed to be. But it looks like it could be a phaser rifle design.
But we've got some orthographics now just to kind of fill the screen. Top view. Just go from the top view, but the next view is interesting because the next one has all three views, the side, and then the front and back. Now this is where, and we did get a shot similar to this in one of the Discovery episodes, the front view looks like the Buran, and in fact we can now see the deflector skirt. What? What? Okay, that's totally different from that view. Okay.
Yeah, again, you get the lanky look here. So this is one of those ones that from the front and back I'm not a fan of. Side I'm not a fan of. But the 3/4 views I'm like, that's a great looking ship. Top, awesome, And I can see why that is angled that way on the side to get that deflector look from the front. It's the only way that'll work. It feels something out of Babylon 5 when you look at it from the front.
And even the back view, there's no impulse engines lit up.
The back is just ugly. It's just details everywhere. What are they? Like, I see a shuttle bay door.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the Martian ship, or Martian ships in general, that very black and white color scheme. It's just like, it feels a bit more NASA-y, but it's lost. It's not carrying over enough of the Trekness.
It looks like a cutaway. Looks like a decked cutaway. Like there's I don't know. Anyway.
And yeah, that shuttle bay is way too small for this sort of ship. My God. What? Yeah.
Well, sizing's interesting because you look at the windows on it. I've been looking at the windows and all the views, and even at the front there, they are tiny windows.
Yeah, it's 445 meters. Because this is one of those things where they had to probably scale the same as a Discovery asset. Because that's part of the... And the Discovery ships are not scaled well because of everything about the show. And luckily we've never seen those ships again, so we've never had to compare them to anything because they're not in it anymore. But, yeah. But anyway, let's look at two beauties there before we close out. Back to kind of the top view. For some reason, this one's giving me kind of a Klingon vibe. Or sort of Romulan vibe, like how the... more Romulan, I think, with how pointy things are and how the pylons are.
Yeah, that point at the front of the saucer, well, it looks cool. If you stripped away the saucer elements, it'd be quite an interesting design for sure. But I do like it. It's a cool incorporation, but at the same time, it's like that is a small registry number. I'm glad they have it on the front. I'm glad they have it on the front though. But that being said, it's also on the sides, which I'm not a fan of it being on the sides, as we've talked about with Discovery ships before. So including it on the front's a nice little touch, just as a, hey, we know nobody likes this. But.
Well, yeah, it's the team, we know better, but we have to stick to the Discovery, but we do know better. That's why, Tobias and the team redesigned the Picard ship to actually fix it and add the details that the team failed to do and did fail to redo for the Blu-ray, letting the assets thoroughly not finished and broken out. And STO knew better and fixed it because they know better. They've been designing ships a lot longer than the Picard team has even been working on Trek, like years and years later, which is not the end of the world. But yeah, this is a good looking view, and I wonder if that was any part of the thought process to give it that, because I know the STO team has arcs. They work with Klingons, they work with Romulans, they don't work with Klingons, they do not work with Romulans. I don't know if this is maybe they're implying something with just the way the back looks. It's very alien-y. Well, at least in this view. I haven't said that for other views, so it is relative. But and the last view, yep.
Last view is an interesting 3/4 in action kind of shot, and it just again the deflector's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't think it gets a pass though.
Yeah, the ship started out really good for me in this episode. Like you're showing the best angle from the top, and then the 3/4, and then it's like. So, yeah, it's a cool enough ship. I wouldn't mind having it in game, but overall, it's just not quite what I'd want to see. I'd make a few changes here and there.
It kind of all does feel unified, but at the same time, not necessarily unified to look the best it could be. And certainly the bottom view has a lot less detailing. The top view feels a lot more sparse, and just there's just that secondary hull, just the way the cutouts are. And considering this is not how it looks on the side view, I don't even know how the side view and this view go together. Even though they do, I don't know how those shapes connect. What? It's a confusing little ship, which is not little. And the nacelles are fine. Remember we mentioned the nacelles. The nacelles are fine. They're standard STO stuff.
I like that design, yeah.
Yeah, they like their flat nacelles, which I wouldn't always be a fan of, but they work here.
Is this your ship? Is this what you captain in Star Trek Online? Let us know. Does it have any special features, gadgets, gizmos? You know, those words. Yeah, let us know in the comments down below. Also, don't keep in mind we will be doing a comparison with this and the Discovery Buran side by side. That'll be an interesting episode in itself to do that with the Discovery redesigned STO ships. So keep your eyes out for that. If you want to make sure you get notified when those come up, make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell icon to all. And before you leave, hit the like button. Hit the like button.
And if you want to buy Star Trek Online ships, there's maybe a better way of doing it. How is that, Stuart?
Ooh, Eagle Moss. Yeah, I forgot all about Eagle Moss. And I didn't. I'm just kidding. In the description of every video, there's an Eagle Moss link. You can hit that, head on over there, buy some of these STO ships that have been made by Eagle Moss, which are it's great. It's a great run of ships, actually. And if you add them to your cart when you check out, you use the discount code Trekyards10 to save yourself 10%. Helps out our channel, helps out you guys. So if you can and you want these ships, please click that link.
But if you want to support us directly, which is really, really, really helpful in advance, the free ways, obviously, liking, that does help. But PayPal, Patreon, joining the YouTube channel, or super chatting, all great ways. And we love the super chats, especially because they have a direct conversation. If you love going to our lives, then do join the channel on YouTube for the set amounts. It makes a massive difference. And we want to keep going into year 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. But we literally can't do it without you guys. And enough of you do come on a regular basis to help. But we do need more, especially in the times without the shows. They are really, really helpful. So if you do enjoy what we do, the ships and the discussions and the reviews, etc., help us out if you can. If you can't, enjoy. But if you can, please do.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I am Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Holmes.
See you later.
Bye, guys.